Thanks for joining us on your channel of choice at this time, Africa Independent Television, AIT. Welcome to Focus Nigeria, your program where we put the searchlight on topical issues in the polity. My name is Alhaji Rabiu. It's Friday edition of the program, and it's less than 48 hours to Nigeria's 57th independent anniversary. And coming at a time like this, no better time perhaps to talk of national unity, Nigeria's unity, how to work for it, the key national questions we need to ask ourselves and honestly seek answers to by ourselves, not from some other person's prodding. Nigeria at 57, a nation in search of unity, a nation at the crossroads, a nation in search of itself. All these are apt to describe ourselves at the moment. And so, national unity as we clock 57 as an independent nation, that's our focus today. And we have a very good guest to do that for us. Alhaji Rabiu Ishyaku Rabiu will be joining me shortly. But on the last day of plenary on Thursday, the Senate devoted its entire plenary speaking to the issue of Nigeria, its present challenges, and how to overcome them. We'll be putting together a few of the views expressed by the senators at yesterday's plenary, and that will be shortly. But just to also tell you that the Ekiti State Governor, Ayo Fayose, made good his plan of declaring for the presidency on Thursday. He did so at a ceremony in Abuja, attended by a few of his admirers.
Today, for the touting Thomases watching me in the television, under the sound of my voice, looking at me eyeball to eyeball, I don't want to be a billionaire, I want to be president of Nigeria. Listen very well and very expressly. Without telling me, I know I have so many adversaries. I know I have haters. They will not die. They will not die. They will see me the same way they saw me return to the government house of Ekiti. They will see me enter this villa by the grace of God in 2019. God bless you.
Ayo Fayose there. Meanwhile, two things happened simultaneously at the time he was busy making his declaration there. The one that probably will affect him the most, the EFCC, after a long cat and mouse game, succeeded in arresting the Ekiti State Commissioner for Finance, Toyin Ojo, and the Accountant General of the state, Yemisi Owolabi. The EFCC had been on the trail of the two Ekiti government officials for a very long time, following petitions to the anti-graft body that most of the bailout funds collected by the state were misappropriated. There were allegations of corruption in respect of contracts, particularly the two major projects the state has been showing off, even when they are yet to reach any appreciable level. The flyover in Ado-Ekiti, according to the allegation, was originally awarded at a cost of 5 billion naira, but has been jacked up to 14 billion naira now, while the Ojaoba new market, yet another project being showed off by the governor, initially awarded at the cost of 3.3 billion naira, has now been re-awarded to another company at a cost of 2.8 billion naira. These are the allegations that the EFCC is pursuing, and the arrest of the two Ekiti officials immediately poured cold water on an otherwise good outing by the governor. And of course, the second incident was the quick and sharp response from the PDP National Caretaker Committee, which described Fayose's efforts as an exercise in futility. The National Public Secretary of the PDP National Caretaker Committee, himself an Ekiti man and an interested party, Prince, what's his name? poo-pooed Fayoshe's declaration and fell short of describing it as an anti-party activity. Prince Adeyeye, that's yes, Prince Dayo Adeyeye spoke in Ado-Ekiti.
Is to violate the decisions of the National Convention. But if a governor decides to violate that decision and claim a right, of course, under the Constitution of Nigeria, everybody has the right to contest for president. But when you voluntarily elect to submit yourself to an organization, you must abide by the rules and regulations of that organization and not claim unnecessary rights. Are you getting my point? Because you voluntarily agree to be a member of the organization. You are members of NUJ now. You agree to be so. And therefore, one expects you to abide by the rules and organization rules. It's not for you to come out and say, I'm a citizen of Nigeria. I will not abide by that rule. Nobody forces you to be a member in the first instance. So we expected all our members, no matter how highly placed, to respect the decisions of the party, particularly a decision coming from the highest organ of the party, which is the National Convention. Acts of impunity, of disrespect to party rules and regulations, of violation of party decisions can lead to real crisis. It's capable of leading to crisis. I have been mandated. I am under mandate of National Cultural Committee to make it clear to Nigerians that the decision of the National Convention of the party is supreme. It's the supreme organ of the party. It should not be violated and treated with levity by anybody, no matter how highly placed.
It's the morning after that declaration, and as they say, the money points the day. So, a problematic presidential declaration from the beginning. All right, our good friend Max Gbanite, who joined the Saints Triumphant, will be in touch Friday next week in Enugu. His journey home began in Abuja last night when his family and friends organized a night of tribute in his honor. Okay, that report will be packaged properly, but just get a clip from all of that. I tell you, Max Gbanite deserves all the accolades and the respect we can pay him on this platform, and we will surely do that. But let's just take a short clip from that. Template for our discussion with the debate I told you about, the debate yesterday in the Senate on Nigeria at 57, and that will lead us to our discussions.
Distinguished colleagues, I do know that it has not been an easy journey, very checkered history, and our prayer is that learning from the past, we must not allow ourselves as leaders to attempt to press any section down, because it is the feeling of marginalization that sometimes leads to agitation, either for independence or for restructuring. And we do know that the current trend is the feeling of restructuring, but I know that restructuring does not mean dismemberment of Nigeria. It does not mean that we are going to separate from one another. It means that we must rejig the internal mechanisms of the workings of government and, of course, the ways and manner we do things in Nigeria.
As leaders, we have to redirect our agenda. We have to be more focused and to try and live up to the standard of countries that we had independence at the same time. Mr. President, there's a lot of mileage that needs to be covered. So while I congratulate Nigerians for this independence, I urge our leaders to look at the situation and see the need for further improvement so that we can catch up with other countries that we are at par with in terms of age.
The reason why we must equally be more careful as leaders, if today one part or some people who believe erroneously that they are greater than the 170 million Nigerians sit somewhere to do press conference and say this is how a country should be governed, we ask wherein lies their mandate. And then the next question is, if you say because of their status in the society, you are conceding to renege from the oath of office you have taken, then if tomorrow another group with the same caliber decide to say this is what they want, where are we going to stop?
I think that it is important, Mr. President, that in this our 57th birthday, our leaders of this country, should have a sober reflection. Because our own time is running, but the generation yet unborn and generation behind us, how are they going to see Nigeria? How are they going to view Nigeria? I think it's a very important thing that we must have a sober reflection. We must see ourselves as one. Those values we know for Nigeria is known for is no longer there. October 1st of every year is always a celebration period for everybody, even the little kids. But today, those things are no longer there.
The leadership of Nigeria, including the National Assembly, must sit down and see that even at maturity, we sit together and talk about our country, about our youth, talk about unemployment, talk about non-payment of salaries, talk about the problems and difficulty of putting food on the table for most of our people. The time has come for us at 57 to be able to take a stock of what we have been through and say to Nigerians, this also will pass.
I'm of the firm belief that through our experiences, through our tribulations, through our turbulence, through our tough times, we had lessons that would assist us in the journey ahead. We should use this opportunity to strengthen the unity, the bond, and the solidarity of our nation. We should use this opportunity to reaffirm our commitment to one and indivisible nation. We should use this opportunity to reform and do all the necessary adjustment that is needed, political, social, and economic, to strengthen our unity as a nation.
I think we are making progress. We still have our own challenges. What I believe that we need to do as a country going forward is to ensure that we'll be able to maximize the benefits of our diversity, to ensure that the rainbow we have in Nigeria will be beneficial to all of us, and nobody should be left behind. We must, as a government and as a people, continue to entrench the values of justice, fairness, and equity. In that way, I believe that Nigeria will be greater than what we are today.
All right, if you're just joining us, a very warm welcome to you. It's less than 48 hours to Nigeria's day. Nigeria will be 57 as an independent nation on Sunday. What a time to speak about Nigeria's unity, and what a time to have the kind of guests that I have this morning. Alhaji Rabiu Ishyaku Rabiu is my guest on this August day. Alhaji Rabiu is Chairman IRS Group, Chairman Board of Trustees of Patriots for New Nigeria Initiative, PNNI. Alhaji Rabiu also serves on the board of some NGOs, so many of them, too numerous to talk about. But let me formally welcome him. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you, Benga. It's a pleasure being here.
Like I said, what an auspicious time to have you. Here is a man who I doubt if he has ever been in government, but he preaches Nigeria's oneness. He talks it, he acts it. How many of you, for instance, know the history of the Unity Fountain in Abuja? The Unity Fountain that has become more or less a symbol of our unity. The Unity Fountain is to us what Hyde Park is to Londoners. If you know where Hyde Park is in London, it's in central London. If you want to demonstrate against the government, you want to ventilate your claims as a citizen, go to Hyde Park. That's where you do it, and nobody will harass you. Just like the Freedom Square was in Nigeria, in Campus Square, in the military years, when Tai Sholare will go to the Freedom Square in Campus Square in Lagos every Sunday and preach a sermon against military dictatorship and all of that. But how many of you know that, how many of you here listening to me now or see me will know that the Unity Fountain was not constructed by government? The Unity Fountain in Abuja was built by this man here, Alhaji Rabiu Ishyaku Rabiu. First of all, what motivated this Unity Fountain idea? where you built it?
Well, first of all, I'd like to seize this opportunity to congratulate Nigerians for our 57th independence. It is a very defining and pivotal moment for us, especially in light of what is happening. But the Unity Fountain came about as a result of corporate social responsibility, but specifically with our unity in diversity in mind, with the hope that Nigerians will appreciate each other and appreciate their differences and be a source of strength and support for themselves and for each other. In other words, all for one and one for all. It is built on the premise of united we stand, divided we fall. And I'm glad it has become what it has become. Location where Nigerians can go and, like you said, vent out their anger and protest and speak whatever they feel like, and also fight for their rights.
Then President Olusegun Obasanjo personally wrote a letter of commendation to you when that Unity Fountain was unveiled in August 2003. Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, because the letter then made it to became a subject of news, and so it's something that is available in public record. That was on the 25th, actually, 25th of August. Yes. Since then, each time you pass through that place, or maybe I should allow you to even explain some of the features too. There are some other features there that also mean something about Nigeria. But probably those who don't know may also not just attach any meanings to them.
Well, as you can see on the fountain, there are the 36 states of Nigeria exhibited there. There are also 6 electric palm trees representing the 6 zones of Nigeria. And there are boards that show on one side one nation, on the other side one people. And the Unity Fountain itself speaks for what it stands for. And it was a very pleasing thing to see Nigerians going there on weekends during festive periods, identifying with the Unity Fountain, and they will stand by their state and take pictures, and other people from other states will come as they need group. So it's a very satisfying feeling, and I think it is our responsibility as patriots, as Nigerians, to be able to do whatever we can to bring ourselves together. We have so much differences, but these differences or diversity can be harnessed and turned into a positive thing.
It should be our strength.
It should be our strength. It should propel us forward. It should be an opportunity for us to identify with each other. If I see you from the east, I feel I have seen my brother. If somebody from the south sees somebody from the north, feels that there is a connection. And that's why the Nigerian nation is what it is. Regardless of all the negativities and pessimism and skepticism about Nigeria, I think we have done so much with the number of ethnic groups. We have over tribes, over 250 tribes, over 350 languages. And I think we have done so much within this period, and I think we should be thankful to God for at least up till now keeping us together as a nation.
Outside of government, do you think Nigerians on their own love each other and they see each other as brothers, citizens of the same country? I'm referring to events of recent.
Right.
At the height of, oh, we want to break away. Oh, okay, you want to go? All right, go. Leave Nigeria. Go and go to your own republic and all of that. Right. At the height of all of that, we also saw some group of Nigerians also demonstrating that, no, we are each other's keepers. In Kano, for instance, we saw how Jews took to the streets, dressed in Igbo attire, preaching oneness, carry placards saying, my Igbo brother is Aboki is my brother, and all of that. Do you think, left to us as Nigerians, as citizens, we can manage our differences?
Absolutely, I believe so. Because it's very clear Nigerians love each other, regardless of these rhetorics that keep going on and the narrative of the marginalization and all that. My friends, a lot of them are from the southeast and the southwest, and obviously from the north. I went to a unity school, and from that, I've been able to integrate into the Nigerian nation. And it's a very good feeling. There is an Okafo, there is a King Sheyi, there is Jonathan, there is so many different tribes.
Each time you have a reunion.
Yeah, each time you have, each time we have a reunion, we feel like we are family, and we feel like we are brothers and sisters. And we even seize that opportunity to preach to each other. You know what we used to be. You know what we stood for. Fairness, justice, equity, responsibility, respect, tolerance, patience, understanding, courage, compassion. And these are the kind of things that we should be able to promote. If you look at it from our cultural viewpoint, from our religious viewpoint, from our social viewpoint, these are things that Nigerians are good at. From a religious viewpoint, for example, going to the mosque or going to the church does not make you a Muslim or a Christian. It is the tenets of that religion, it is what it preaches and what you practice that make you a member of that religion, and not just calling yourself
how you relate to humanity.
Exactly.
When you walk out of the mosque or you walk out of the church.
Thank you. This is critical. And people today call themselves Muslims and Christians, and yet come out and do things that are un-Islamic or un-Christian. And one thing that is amazing to me in terms of people that hold public office, whenever you are being sworn in as a Muslim or a Christian, you either hold the Quran or the Bible and swear by it to be honest, to be fair, to put the interests of the state above yours, and you turn right around and do the opposite. Not everybody, but most people will be guilty of that. And I think that is very dangerous. I think that sets a wrong impression for our children. People are no longer being parents. You would do things that your children will watch you do, knowing fully well that you are doing things that are illegal and unacceptable. And that will give them the impression that it's okay to do that. In that case, you are not being a parent, and it's wrong.
There's this belief that it is government policies, government attitude, and government reactions on critical national developments that is actually fueling our divisions, and not necessarily interpersonal relationship.
Partially, yes, but who is government? We are government. It's the people. So whatever you see in government is a reflection of what we are. If you are in government and are corrupt or unpatriotic, if you are in the private sector and are corrupt and unpatriotic, if whatever you do is negative and promote lack of progress, lack of unity, lack of development, if you lack empathy, if you lack sympathy for the Nigerians that do not have the privileges that we have, then you are not being a true Nigerian. Because I think the idea of Nigeria is everybody to try and achieve their own self-determination. And we can do that if we really do the right things and ensure that we take whatever obstacles we have along the line out of the way. And no matter how high the mountain is, we should be able to climb it. No matter how wide the ocean is, we should be able to swim across it so that we can go to that destination, the ultimate destination that we pray for and we preach for all the time.
Another argument is that at no time since the Civil War ended has Nigeria's unity been this tested. Unfortunately, so it's also coming at a time when some of the people that are in power were people who fought and probably would have given their lives for the unity of this country. Why is this paradox?
Since the Civil War, we have not had it this bad. Therefore, people
politically or economically?
Both.
Both.
I think politically, I would say we are better off. Okay. Economically, we have issues. But even politically, I think we need to review the situation. Politics is about governance, it's about representing the people, but are the people being represented the way they should be? Before you elect people into offices, you should have checked their character, their track record, their compassion, their willingness to serve their communities, their states, their country. And now people just go into politics and spend money, and it has become a business. And when people get elected to these offices, they go to the offices and forget the people that sent them there. They become oblivious of the fact that these people sent them there because they have needs. They need representation. And that's why I have an issue with the IPOB situation. We have very credible, influential, educated, exposed members of the Southeast that are in government. Are you telling me that Mr. Kanu has usurped their powers? Where are the members of the House of Representatives? Where are the senators? Where are the members of the State House of the Assemblies? Where are the elders that have forever worked to promoting and protecting the interests of this group? Why are the socio-cultural group? Why is Ohanizo Indigbo? How can you let somebody usurp your power? Arewa Consultative Forum, Afenifere. These are groups that promote the interest, welfare, and well-being of their people. And yet somebody who has no mandate of the people comes out and speaks for them. There are tens of millions of Igbo nationalities living all over Nigeria, living peacefully, intermarrying, doing legitimate businesses, and rightfully living in areas that belong to them because they are Nigerians. So nobody can tell a northerner or a easterner or southerner that he's an interloper. He belongs where he is because he is the citizen of Nigeria. Nobody can do that. But while we are looking at that, we must also understand and accept that we have rights. But you must also realize that your right ends where my own starts. So if he had gone about it and consulted with Ohanaeze Ndigbo, with the members of the House of Representatives, with the Senate from that area, and said this is the wish or the desire of our people, we feel marginalized, we need to bring about some changes, and go about it constitutionally, that wouldn't have been a problem, because we are a nation governed by laws. So we cannot afford to have provocateurs that are willing to do things that will bring about trouble and cause loss of lives and property. It is wrong. We must be a law-abiding nation. We must have faith in this nation. And whenever there are issues that we disagree with, we come and talk about them. We don't threaten each other and say we are going to be worse than Somalia. Where was he when the Biafran war was fought?
Probably not born.
Probably not born. The people that live all over this country have a stake also. Yeah, they may be Igbo nationality, but they are people and they have rights. And they are Nigerians and deserve to do anything and everything as long as it's legal and within the framework of the law. For example, that's why I love what is happening in Lagos State. In Lagos State today in the House of Representatives, there are 3 Igbo nationalities.
The House of Assembly?
No, House of Reps.
Okay, in Abuja.
In Abuja, there are members of the Igbo tribe representing Lagos.
In the House of Reps?
Yes. I have not had anybody come and say that is wrong because it is right. And that's why in democracy you talk about numbers. They came from areas that is dominantly Igbo, you know.
Put by Igbos.
Yes. Yeah. And it's right. There's nothing wrong with that. Today, Lagos State has maybe 220, 230 ethnic groups. I don't know. But it is what Nigeria should be. People are living, doing businesses from all over the country, and we should appreciate and respect that. And we should do whatever we can do within the ambit of the law. And that's why it's not right to start talking about secession. Everywhere today, people are coming together. Look at the European Union, and look at what happened with the issue of Brexit. Today, they are wondering, are they going to survive?
Whether they made a mistake.
Whether they made a mistake. In another case, look at the issue of Sudan and South Sudan. They were fighting and fighting and fighting for oil. They got oil. The next thing, they are the youngest nation today on earth. But less than a year and a half or so, they are out killing each other. So that resource has become a curse to them rather than a blessing. And why should we even start fighting about something that has a limited time to make that countries are already planning, they are moving forward, they are talking about electric cars, they are talking about stopping combusting engines, and we're still here talking about resource. Yes.
About oil.
About oil. It is a resource and we should benefit from it. But we have lost the main benefits that exist in that industry a long time ago. Countries that we colleagues in OPEC, for example, have gone so far. Today, Norway has $1 trillion in their sovereign wealth fund from oil. United Arab Emirates has about $924 billion. The third, which is a non-oil based economy, is China. They're about $814 billion, followed by Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. And apart from Singapore, China, and Hong Kong, all the others are oil producing countries. Today, the sovereign wealth fund is worth $7.4 trillion, up from $3.4 trillion 10 years ago. We've just started in Nigeria. I think the equity in our sovereign wealth fund, I think, is 1.5 billion. If we had invested these kinds of money in the past, we would have been in a good shape now. But that's why leadership requires vision, requires sacrifice, requires service, requires commitment, compassion, empathy, so that you think about people that do not have the opportunities you have. If you go out of your house in the morning going to work and you see your neighbor's child playing around because he cannot afford to send him to school, you just wave at him and go. That is not empathy. That is not the Nigeria we need. That is not who we are as a people. We should think about neighborliness, about brotherhood, about sisterhood, about supporting each other. And without really taking that into consideration, that same kid you see playing out there tomorrow will be your worst nightmare. Because if he grows up to be a criminal, you are his first target. When your children come back, either from abroad or from the very expensive school, they will be together and they will be able to instill in them characters that are unbecoming of people. You know, our problem goes beyond living together. Even as we are today as Nigerians living together, we have huge challenges. By 2050, Nigeria will be the third largest population in the world, to the tune of about 450 million people. As far as land mass is concerned, Nigeria is ranked 32nd in the world. So you can imagine the pressure of hosting the third largest population in the world on the 32nd land mass. Think about population. Think about the requirements for education, for healthcare, for housing, for security, for employment. What you gonna do with this? Today, people are working on knowledge-based economy that stresses more on intellectual capacity as opposed to natural resources.
Yes.
Power, to us, is worse than rocket science. We have been trying to have power in this country forever. I'm glad we are having some improvement, but we should think ahead. We should not solar, renewable energy that will be sustainable. We're not doing that. But I think this is a collective responsibility for all of us. And that's why democracy will have to be something that will succeed in as much as citizens participate
do we
fully.
think we as citizens are making enough demand of our leaders along the lines of all of these things that you just enumerated?
Frankly?
Yes, as
no.
citizens, do we think we are making enough demands of those who lead us?
I think we are not.
Because if the leadership is not thinking along like that, but you have a followership that can ginger them.
I don't think we are doing our responsibility.
So it's double failure. Failure of leadership, failure of followership.
Followership, it is. It is both failures on both sides. But if we would take our responsibilities more seriously as citizens and understand that when you talk about victimization or marginalization, it's not a region of the country that is marginalized, or it's not a group of people that is marginalized, it's the majority of the ordinary Nigerian people that have failed to get what those who have taken what does not belong to them. They have failed to get education for their children. They have failed to get health care. Go to the hospitals. There's the issue of triage. When you go to hospital and you cannot pay the required fees, you will bleed to death. You don't know how much people feel so much pain and agony seeing your loved one in such a situation and you cannot afford it. You see children begging on the street. If you have empathy, you will think, how would I feel if this was my child? You see students graduating from the university, and before they even graduate, they have spent 6, 7, 8 years because of the failure of our university system. Therefore, it is something that we have to work very hard to correct it. And if we don't come together and act responsibly, we will not be able to do that. And you know, people talk about the issue of restructuring. There's nothing wrong with that. We can restructure. But for you to restructure, you have to have a structure. And the way you go about restructuring is like a building that an architect draws, that an engineer draws the engineering drawing, mechanical drawing, blah, 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 blah. So if you are going to restructure it, you have to take all those documents and all those...
Talking of a structure that has been erected over a period of 57 years.
57 years.
And probably something is wrong with it, and we need to restructure. Where do we start from? Is it from the roof or from the foundation?
We start from the point that is right. We have a government, we have a system, we are a country that is governed by laws. We have a constitution. No matter how faulty it is, it doesn't matter, because there is a provision for amendment to that constitution. So for now, at least you have something to work on. Go according to the constitution. And it doesn't matter, because people feel like if one group is larger than the other, then the other cannot get what they need.
Those are the fears that are driving the process. That if you want to use the existing mechanism to withdraw the social contract that binds us together, because it's difficult to fault the argument that Nigeria is a federation of so many nations, and it's not one nation. It's a federation of so many nations. All those nations submitted their identities and assumed one national identity called Nigeria. But that those lines, those different lines of the different national identities are beginning to come out now to overwhelm the national identity that we used to have. And so there's need to redraft that social contract. Trying to use the existing mechanism presents a challenge of its own. Because there, again, the question of numbers, one of the key issues in restructuring also comes forth.
True, but democracy is about numbers, but it is also about compromise.
Compromise. Yes. Even when you have the numbers, not trying to use or flex the muscle of numbers.
Right. Unfortunately, people emphasize so much high leadership position. But look at even that. How did the Deputy Senate President emerge? He emerged from the support of members of the Senate from both houses.
From both
parties, I mean, from both parties. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you have a group that feels there is a need, in fact, what surprises me is that the socio-cultural groups, I have not seen them meet together. Afenifere, Ario Consultative Forum, Ohanaze Ndigbo, Ijo Youth Group, and all the rest, and come and discuss our issues, first and foremost. Take into account our elder statesmen, because we have them. Consult with our elective members. Consult with those representatives of the people in the House and in the Senate. Then go back as groups and re-strategize and agree which way forward. Come back and discuss it. You agree here, you disagree. We can agree without being disagreeable. But we have not been making the effort, and that is because of our selfishness and self-centeredness.
Perhaps it's only when the interests of those few that you have mentioned come to play,
of course,
that they are able to overcome such differences. Like you just cited how the Deputy Senate President emerged.
Right.
Both parties were able to overcome their differences because an interest is involved. Why are we not able to also use that to overcome our differences when it is Nigeria that is involved? When it is the interest of Nigeria that is involved? When it is the interest of an average Nigerian, whether his name is Emeka or his name is Ahmed or his name is Ojo, doesn't matter. But because he's a Nigerian, we overcome our collective differences to attend to his need.
That is because there are two groups of people in Nigeria, the elites and the rest of us. And if whenever you are going to look at an issue, you are looking at it from a personal viewpoint or a group viewpoint, you're not going to go far. You don't look at the larger picture. You don't look at Nigeria as a very formidable country that can be the best in Africa and one of the best in the world. We have everything. We have the natural resources. We have the arable land. We have the most important aspect, human resources. For example, during 1965, more than 70% of the labor force was employed by the agricultural sector. 62.4% of our foreign exchange came from agriculture. 66.6% of our gross domestic product came from agriculture. When the Civil War was fought, it was estimated that £1 million was being spent every day. That was from that sector. When Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory was the Federal Commissioner of Finance and Deputy Chairman, Prime Minister of the Federal Executive Council. Now, these founding fathers have done so much. They have sacrificed so much. When Chief Obafemi Awolowo of blessed memory and Sir Amadu Bello Sardauna of blessed memory and Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of blessed memory came into the political limelight, they were in their 40s. Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was born in 1904. Chief Obafemi Awolowo was born in 1909. Sir Amadu Bello Sardauna was born in 1910. By 1940s and 50s, they had formed political parties, and they were sacrificed. We are enjoying their sacrifice today. We are enjoying their hard work. We are enjoying their vision. And all the good things you are talking about between independence and the Civil War was as a result of their vision, their commitment, their sacrifice, their willingness to make us a better people. Why are we not having that today? Because we are a different set of people. We are greedy, we are self-centered, we are unloving, we are uncaring, we are corrupt. Not all of us, though. There are people that are very good Nigerians, detribalized, patriotic, willing to work to make Nigeria a better place. You know, we are so blessed. The only thing that you will bury underground that will not grow is probably a dead person. Anything you plant in Nigeria will grow. Look at the improvements we are having in agriculture, in Kebbi, in Kano, in Anambra, in Ebonyi. Ogun State is coming up now. So I think we are getting there slowly, and some of the interventions by government is very good, especially in the area of agriculture. And this is an area that has to be an all-encompassing areas. For example, people talk about, there's this big problem we have about herdsmen and farmers. And it's basically a land issue. And I understand the farmers will be concerned because you cannot come and plant and then cows come and devour your... The Fulani man is his way of life. So when government is coming up with policy that will help bring an end to that problem by creating ranches, it's also okay because it's supporting agriculture. We have supported rice, we have supported soybean, we have supported maybe cocoa, palm oil, and why not cattle ranching or fishery or poultry? Whatever we do, as long as it benefits Nigeria, indirectly it benefits all Nigerians because it makes us a greater, stronger country.
All right. Alhaji Rabiu, let me read a few tweets. Daniel Omejua says, Nigeria at 57, Benga, I like your guest, Ishyaku Rabiu. He speaks from his heart, and I can see love in it. We need people like him. That's from Daniel Omejua. Mogbola Babs CFR says, Nigeria has huge potentials to be one of the greatest countries world over, but her being has been that of egregious leadership. And Chino Obasi says, he is right. That's talking about you. He is right that the elites are our problem, and he is part of the elite. They do not want the present structure change because they, the elite, benefit from the dysfunction. Emmanuel Akpan, for us to progress, we must be community in liberty, equality, and fraternity. There and then, we can have a strong country. And Cecilia Okoroma, yes, that's the name. Cecilia Okoroma, happy independence to great Chief Bega and Alhaji Rabiu, all Nigerians. United Nigeria, we stand. Okay, all right. Let's try to see if we can profile solution now. First of all, let me ask you: do you think Nigeria or Nigeria's unity is negotiable? If so, to what extent? Here I'm looking at a social contract that has been drafted over 57 years ago, and probably it's time, and somehow the owners are complaining, marginalization, you are having too much, I'm not having too much. And in the midst of all of this, nobody is even looking at the resources. Are we even having enough resources to share? If we all think our differences, are we not capable of mobilizing more resources such that there is so much more to share and everybody will have his own fair share and all of that? Those are the things I'd like you to look at when I ask that question of whether Nigeria is negotiable and to what extent.
See, part of the problem is the way we communicate and put the things we put the way we put them. Why should we be talking about negotiable or not negotiable? We have a system. If, for example, today you have parts of Nigeria and the northwest, southwest, southeast, a portion, or even from all the zones, having a great number of people willing to change, Nigerian structure must change, and they go through the constitutional and legal means to do that, they can do it. So it's the way you communicate. Nothing is by force. Everybody has a right. And if a group of people, majority, come together and say we want to secede, and they go through the legal and constitutional means to do that, there's nothing wrong with that. But that has to be the process. So going forward, I think what we need to do is to respect each other, to appreciate each other, and not to malign or vilify or degrade or insult like is going on now in the social media. And the social media is something that we have to be very careful about. It is a tool that we can use to promote us, to unify us, to develop us, not to destroy us, not to divide us, not to get us to be doing hate speeches and hating each other. That is not who we are. And you know, the unfortunate thing is that some of us have the privilege of coming here and speaking about the issues of Nigeria. But with all humility, I'm telling you, there are millions of Nigerians that are a lot more patriotic than I am, that are a lot more loving for the country than I am.
How can these people, this legion of Nigerians, take over?
I think there is need for sensitization of the political process. I think people need to understand that every vote counts. And most importantly, I think we are doing something that is really very unbecoming of us. How dare we, in our 50s and 60s and 70s, come and set the future of the youth that are now already responsible people. They have graduated in difficult circumstances as a result of our faults. They have been going around looking for jobs. You have an engineering graduate driving a taxi. He has a family. He has a wife. He has a child. He has dreams for himself and for his family. And yet, 30, 60, 70, 80-year-old, as if this country was made for only the elders. We should build our youth in a way that they can build their future. Not the other way around. We cannot build their future for them. And we cannot infect them with our communicable disease of division, of hatred, of lack of commitment, of lack of honesty, lack of integrity, lack of responsibility. When I say these things, I'm talking about majority. With all due respect to the Nigerians that are not this. But if majority is negative, then the whole body will be negative. If all you are thinking about is what you achieved yesterday, then obviously you haven't done much today and don't plan to do a lot tomorrow. So I think the National Assembly should, by all means, try and reconnect with the people they represent. We're talking about constitutional amendment.
Yeah.
How much input have Nigerians in that amendment? How much? How many, not all of them, but I think some members probably never get back to their constituency. And Nigerians or voters should understand that when people come and pay you to vote for them, that is all you are going to get, what they have paid you. And you cannot accuse them of not serving you because you did not elect them the way you should have. Our leadership recruitment process has to change. We have to look out for people that have track record, that are qualified to hold the positions,
and are passionate.
It's governance, and it's democracy.
Our time is almost up, but let me quickly throw this in, because I also noticed that you serve on the board of some NGOs.
Yes.
What's your take on this controversial NGO bill, NGO Regulatory Commission bill?
I think it's a wrong thing. I think it's a slap on the face of Nigerians. These are people that are coming together as NGOs or civic organizations, religious organizations to do things that they believe or that actually change the lives of their people.
Try to fill the void created by the absence of
Yes.
governance.
I don't think government should be involved in that. I, however, think that some of these NGOs, like everything else in Nigeria, take advantage. If you are trying to do things that will help people, don't collect their money and put it in your pocket. Don't collect their money and fail to account for them. So the NGOs themselves have to restructure, talking about restructuring, their existence. So that, because you have to be responsible to yourself and to what you represent and be true to the cause you are supporting. You know, leadership is about calling, it's a vocation. You can't just wake up and say, I want to be a leader. People have to come together and accept that, yes, we have seen traits of leadership in this person. He is committed, he is honest, he has integrity, he is responsible, he is compassionate, he is tolerant. And then go around and see what you can do to support that. Fortunately, if he changes or thinks he has made a smart move, there are processes in the Constitution that take care of that.
All right, we have to go now. Nigeria at 57 in just 10 seconds. How do you feel? Is still a country of potentials or still a country that will be great very soon?
It's a country of potential. But we have to have focus. We have to have passion. We have to be hopeful. We cannot keep making excuses. And we have to work together as a team. Otherwise, we cannot achieve the objectives. I remember there are responsibilities on us. Today, if the founding fathers came back, they probably would want to die again, because this is not the Nigeria they fought for and they dreamt for. So I think we still have a very good opportunity, but I think we need to talk. When you disagree with people, you don't threaten them. You talk to them. You disagree. You debate. You argue. And ultimately, you come to some kind of solution.
Unfortunately, people like Rabiu are hardly found in our political space. His passion for positive development and being your guest. And then these ones are following us. Rabiu says Nigerians should respect one another and stop the hate speech. Victor Ogbeche, Alhaji Ishyaku Rabiu is one great Nigerian whose philanthropy, patriotism is worth emulating. He is my mentor. That's Victor Ogbeche. All right, let's leave it there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Benga. One thing I want to add is that there are millions of Nigerians like me. I just happen to have this opportunity to be. If we can come together, if the youth group especially can come together with all NGOs and youth groups, and they are formidable force, they can change Nigeria, and the future is for them, and we're looking forward to that.
Alhaji Rabiu Ishyaku Rabiu is Chairman IRS Group, Chairman Board of Trustees of Patriots for New Nigeria Initiative. Like I said, he also serves on the board of so many other non-governmental organizations. Thank you so much for
My
making
pleasure, Benga. Thank you.
Happy Independence in advance.
Happy Independence. We'll see you next year again.
Thank you so much for investing your time with us. Enjoy the rest of the day. And, of course, happy Independence in advance.